Hey, great to have you here. Welcome to the program. Great radio stations across the land. iHeartRadio, Newsmax TV, JoePags.com. It is the Joe Pags Show for a Monday. That's a Motown Monday. Junior Walker's Shotgun. Can you say shotgun in the United States anymore? I think you can. Glad to have you along for the ride. What an eventful weekend. An extremely eventful weekend. Carrie, how's it going?
Well, it's going pretty good. How are you?
Yeah, had better days, be honest with you. Got technical difficulties, just found out about 30 seconds ago, so we're working with it. As far as that goes, though, that's nothing. That's nothing compared to what we saw over the weekend, what we saw late Saturday night, what we saw yesterday. Shootouts here and there. Now I'm getting some word about possibly some sort of a shooting in Utah. I know that you're on top of that. Bottom of this hour will be Jeff Adicott. He is Lieutenant Colonel. He's also the Director for the Center for Terrorism Law at St. Mary's University, and he's got a book out called Radical Islam Why. And we like Jeff a lot, and we like having him on a lot, and we like the insight we get, and we like the advice he has for this great land and other great free lands to try to stamp out or snuff out radical Islam. We like that a lot. We don't like talking to him as often as we do because the reason normally is there is some sort of new terrorist attack. That's what's going on. And invariably, it is somebody who thinks they're doing it for their Muslim faith. Invariably, it is somebody who's doing it because they believe that Sharia law is the right way and freedom and liberty and constitutionality is the wrong way. Invariably, you've got left-wing doofuses that are saying dumb things, and I'll get into what dumb things people like Andrew Cuomo and Bill de Blasio and Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton are saying today. This is without fail. We don't have to wait for the guy's name anymore, it seems. This guy's name was Ahmad something from Afghanistan. So we've got more terrorist attacks, and it seems as though the first knee-jerk reaction we get from these so-called leaders, air quotes, so-called leaders is, don't make any assumptions. It's not really terrorism. We don't really know anything, but we're beating ISIL. I keep saying ISIL for some reason, for the Levant instead of Syria. Let's get an update on exactly what we have. Carrie, if you can, give us the latest on what we have, and then we'll get into what de Blasio said, the mayor of New York, and what Cuomo said, the governor of New York, and what Hillary Clinton said, the former senator from New York, and what Barack Obama said, the president of the United States. Go ahead.
Okay, from Fox News, the Afghan immigrant who authorities believe planted bombs in New Jersey and New York this weekend was captured Monday after a dramatic gun battle with police that was sparked when officers found him sleeping in the doorway of a bar. Officials had launched a dragnet earlier Monday in search of Ahmad Khan Rahami, the 28-year-old naturalized U.S. citizen who was identified as the primary person of interest in the Saturday night blast in New York's Chelsea neighborhood, an explosion in New Jersey's Seaside Park on Saturday morning, and a foiled bomb attack Sunday night near a train station in Elizabeth, New Jersey. The hunt for Rahami turned out to be brief. A bar owner in Linden, New Jersey, spotted a man sleeping in his doorway Monday morning and called police. An officer confronted the man around 10:45 a.m. and soon recognized the person as Rahami, officials said. Rahami pulled out a gun and shot the officer, identified by the Linden mayor's office as Angel Padilla in the abdomen. Padilla was wearing a bulletproof vest.
Good, yeah.
A second police officer, identified as investigator Pete Hammer, had a bullet graze his head. Both officers were expected to be okay. Rahami was shot at least once in the leg and eventually brought down and captured alive. He was taken to University Hospital in Newark, where he underwent surgery, Fox News confirmed.
This is a big thing because, generally speaking, we don't get to talk to the bad guy.
Mm-hmm. I know, right?
The Boston bombing, you did get that guy, who, by the way, Rolling Stone magazine tried to make some sort of a teen idol, which was weird. But this guy, now you've got this guy. And then we're hearing words like, well, he was radicalized when he this, and he was radicalized when he that. I don't know that somebody can be radicalized. I think you either have it in you or you don't. So the whole, they were radicalized this, radicalized that takes away the religious aspect of it. And trust me, if you had a chance to talk to this piece of garbage, he would tell you that it's about his religion. He would tell you that even as Obama's saying, not about Islam. Even as he was saying that, this bad guy would say, well, of course it's about Islam. What are you, stupid? So we've got the explosion in the Chelsea neighborhood. We've got another potential, well, not even potential, another device that was, I think, 4 blocks away or 5 blocks away, something like that. Then you've got one that blew up in New Jersey before the start of a run that was for a good cause. And it actually would have happened while the run was going on, but that run was delayed for a little while, just by happenstance, thank God, so nobody was hurt there. And you've got all sorts of stuff happening. And at the end of the day, what we know is that, again, it's radical Islamic terrorism. That's what it is. There's no doubt. Now, I'm watching it Saturday night, and you see, it was Saturday night when it happened, right?
Yes.
The initial one in the Chelsea neighborhood, 29th.
Right.
Where 29 were hurt. What was it 27th Street, I think?
29 were hurt, yes.
Right. Okay, so de Blasio comes out, Bill de Blasio, who is this communist, left-wing nutjob mayor of New York City. He comes out, and the thing he has to say is, let's not make any assumptions, and there are no signs pointing to this being terrorism as of right now. Now, let's just think about that statement for a second. And that was a paraphrase, but it was in context. Let's think about that for a second. There is nothing about this that is showing any signs of terrorism right now. There were pressure cookers. That probably just a coincidence. I actually saw somebody on television late Saturday night going, they found a pressure cooker in a garbage, and I guess somebody could have thrown a pressure cooker away, but what are the chances that the same kind of device that was used, or the devices that were used in Boston, are now being found in New York City? And what are the chances on that specific night somebody also threw away a pressure cooker? I'm saying slim and none.
Yeah.
So you've got the mayor of the largest city in the country that has often been under attack and will continue to be under attack until you get some other leadership in there, who the first thing he wanted to say was, A, let's not jump to conclusions, don't make any assumptions, and B, there's nothing here that's pointing to terrorism. He wanted us to believe that. And then the next day, you've got the idiot Andrew Cuomo, you know, the guy who said you don't need more than 2 bullets to shoot a deer. This guy comes out and he decides he's going to tell us what it isn't too.
At this time, there is no evidence of an international terrorism connection with this incident.
What? But what?
It is very, very early in the investigation.
Right, so.
And it's just starting.
So there is no connection?
The FBI has brought the evidence that they've collected.
Right.
From the site of the explosion, as well as the bomb that did not detonate. And
all right, so it was an explosion, and it was a bomb that didn't detonate. The FBI is on it, Homeland Security is on it, but there are no signs that this is international terrorism, as opposed to, I guess, the homegrown kind. Because if we make this a domestic terrorist or some sort of a lone wolf or a radicalized something, then it's not really about Islam. It's not really about Muslims. It's not really about ISIS. It's about this one, guy who's demented. Oh, and later on, Hillary Clinton tells us who's at fault, by the way.
Brought that to Quantico, and they'll be studying that.
Right.
There was also an incident in Seaside Park, New Jersey. They're also taking that material to Quantico to review that material also.
So again, is it terrorism or not, Andrew? I'm not really sure I understand.
A bomb exploding in New York is obviously an act of terrorism.
Stop. Kerry, does he need to say anything else here?
No.
It's obviously an act of terrorism, is what he says. Stop. But then he feels like he's got to say something more.
But it's not linked to international terrorism.
Oh, it's not linked to international terrorism, it turns out. So that's actually better. The 29 injured are a little less injured now. The shootout with the police in New Jersey, they're a little less shot in the head and in the abdomen. And that terrorist is a little less of a terrorist because it's somehow not connected to international terrorism. Oh, by the way, although it's not connected to international terrorism, ISIS is doing a dance in the street and praising these people, or this guy, for doing what he did. Also praising the guy in Minnesota, and we'll get to that one in a little while. So they're internationally being praised by international Islamic terrorists, but there is no international Islamic terrorist link according to Andrew Cuomo, who I just don't think is a very smart man.
In other words, we find no ISIS connection, etc.
Oh, there's no ISIS connection or anything. Yeah. Except ISIS is saying, oh, yeah, it was us.
A bomb going off is generically a terrorist activity.
Generically.
That's how we're going to consider it.
Yeah.
And that's how we will prosecute it also.
It's a generic terrorist attack. Come on, it's not a specific one. It wasn't really right there in the Chelsea neighborhood. It wasn't really right there at Seaside. It wasn't really right there where the shootout happened. It generically was kind of terrorism, maybe.
But the mayor's correct. There was no link at this time, at this preliminary stage, to international terrorism.
Just a dork. Listen, if you're in New York, I'm sorry for you. If you're in New York, I apologize for that guy because there's something very wrong with it. But then again, I take that back. I don't apologize because you elected him. He's yours. So is de Blasio. And I'm not going to play de Blasio. Suffice it to say he's just an idiot. Let's not make any assumptions. One of the first things out of his freaking mouth on Saturday night, let's not make any assumptions, not jump to any conclusions. Oh, and then Obama came out today, and he decided to tell the reporters what they should and shouldn't do. We'll have that for you, too, when we come back. Also, Carrie, if you would, get the Minnesota story ready for us. What happened there over the weekend at a mall. And is there something happening in Utah at a school?
I'm still looking. I can't find anything right now.
Okay, so I'm just a tip that I got on Twitter. I wasn't sure if there's something going on. We'll look into it. Much more to come. 1-800-383-9624, joepags.com. Right back after this.